This is the GOAT Level Podcast with your host, the GOAT, the legend, the hero, Van Pugh.
This is the first edition of Don't Blame Me If Your Fantasy Team Loses. So, I got a whole lot of notes. This probably won't be that great of a show. I just got a whole lot of notes. I didn't do too much preparation. Haven't had time. This job is just draining everything, but I'm thankful for it because I feel like God put me there for many reasons, but that's another topic for another day. Um, so I guess the first thing I wrote down was the Patriots defense versus the Dolphins. Like, the Patriots defense have only given up 3 points all season long. 2 games, sure. Shut down the Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger and James Conner and Juju. They were fully healthy. Patriots shut them down. They shut out the Dolphins. And the best fantasy defense in the NFL. It's not even close. They completely destroyed them. So, them against the Jets, and the Jets have not Luke Falk. I think that's his name. His last name is Falk. You gotta like your chances picking them in daily fantasy, or if you have them in like regular fantasy, you're lucky. You're very fortunate. Very good pick. So, on my ESPN team, I have OBJ, Julio Jones, and Michael Thomas. 3 of the best receivers in the league. And, I lost last week, but Julio Jones and Odell Beckham Jr. almost brought me back. Like, they had about half my points. That's why, I did the unconventional thing. I've never done this. I took 3 receivers in the first 3 rounds of ESPN Fantasy. I don't think not many people do that. I definitely have never done it before. But actually, I took DeAndre Hopkins. And I don't know why I did this, but I accepted a trade. DeAndre Hopkins for Michael Thomas. And honestly, they both had shaky games last week. But I felt like it was an even trade. I don't know why I did it. I know Hopkins is the better receiver. But for some reason, I feel like Thomas might get more targets. It sounds ridiculous, but I think he'll end up getting more targets in the long run. But Hopkins is the better receiver. I should have just said no, but I did it anyway. It don't matter. I think I got a good big 3, and I'll be all right. But what really hurts me is that Drew Brees isn't playing. He's hurt. So that kind of hurts me. That really hurts me in this DeAndre Hopkins versus Michael Thomas thing. Hopefully I don't regret it. So far, I'm 1-1, and I lost week 2 by 4 points. So the 3 receiver thing, it's kind of working. Even though Cam Newton's been trash and he's hurt. And I just lost Ben Roethlisberger. So quarterback situation isn't helping, but my receivers are killing it. And my running backs will be okay. They'll be all right. They're not like world beaters or anything, but they're solid. So the Chiefs receivers, there's no Tyreek Hill. So now you got to rely on McCole Hardman. I guess the speedy guy from Georgia. He's supposed to be a discount version of Tyreek Hill. I guess. That's all marketing. I have to see it to believe it. But who really stole the show was, I think his name is DeMarcus Robinson. He stole the show. I think he had like 100-something receiving yards. He had like 150, 170 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Man. But Mecole Hardman was everyone's, pick, everyone's favorite pick there. But go to Marcus. Go to Marcus. DeMarcus killed it. I never heard of the guy, but he killed it. So I guess you could start picking one of those guys. Ravens Chiefs, honestly, these are the two best offenses in the league so far. And the defenses, well, the Ravens obviously have a better defense, obviously. But that Chiefs offense is like sick. That Chiefs offense is sick with it, especially with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, the top two fantasy quarterbacks. Well, I don't know. This one site I was looking at, Fantasy Football Today, has Patrick Mahomes as number 3. Well, I guess it depends on your league rules. Regardless, he's either 2 or he's 3. Lamar Jackson's clear number 1. So I don't know what's going to happen here. These offenses are crazy. I don't know if we're going to have a repeat of Chiefs and Rams last year. We could. It's going to be... Honestly, Chiefs versus Ravens last year was pretty good. It came down to the last minute, and Robert Griffin III came in for Lamar Jackson, and he almost won it. That was a heck of a game last year, went to overtime. But this time, I don't know. This time, it could go either way. I think the Ravens are a more complete team, and they should win. But Chiefs, man, that Chiefs offense is ridiculous. You also have the top 2 tight ends in the league. Top 2 tight ends. Kelsey and Andrews. I already knew Mark Andrews from day one when he got recruited by OU. I knew he was going to be like that. I just didn't think he'd catch on this fast. He is really killing it in his second year. I mean, now mind you, this guy was recruited at OU as a receiver. So shouldn't surprise you. He catching all these passes and stuff. But, I mean, for consistency's sake, Kelsey has been doing it longer and at a higher level. You can go off that. If you got to pick one of them for daily fantasy, why not? Or, both FanDuel and DraftKings have a flex option. Maybe you could pick both. You know what? I'm exploring that option of picking both because both of them have great high value. They're the top 2 tight ends, and they're going against each other. And sure, Baltimore has a better defense, but it's that Kelsey, man. He gets open against everyone but the Chargers. I don't know about that. You gotta research that. Patrick Mahomes had 443 yards versus Oakland, and Lamar Jackson had 272 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 120 yards rushing. That is ridiculous. Something has to give. You can go either way with that one. You really can. Kyler Murray, the sleeper, honestly. Russell Wilson is a sleeper too because he has back-to-back 300-yard games. So does Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is, oh man, this dude's incredible. Just wait. He's going to break out for his own 100-yard rushing game too. But that offense is doing something. He's throwing for 300-something yards in both games. Now, both of them pretty much losses. I mean, one is a tie, but they were pretty much losing that game. But yeah, don't be afraid to pick Kyler Murray, especially in DraftKings and FanDuel. Everyone's going to pick freaking Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and, maybe Tom Brady. Man, ain't nobody going to pick Kyler Murray. Phillip Rivers. There's a whole lot of people you think of. Even Carson Wentz, who is doing pretty good, even though the Eagles have been shaky in both games. He's doing pretty good himself. But you'd even pick him before Kyler Murray, but I don't know why. Kyler Murray, well, I know why, but Kyler Murray's killing it. And if you need someone that's lesser owned, Kyler Murray's perfect. And, I picked him in week 1, and he won me some money because I combined. I need to look back at this, but I'm pretty sure that was the team that had Austin Eckler and Deshaun Jackson. If Deshaun Jackson can stay healthy, he's another good option to pick. See, I'm looking at this lineup where I won $30. Well, that was the Carson Wentz lineup, and Zach Ertz and Austin Eckler, and just imagine if I had Dalvin Cook. Okay, speaking of running backs, Le'Veon Bell was on that team. Le'Veon Bell, 23 fantasy points last week. This week, I'm not sure. I mean, he has 19 targets in 2 games. That leads all running backs. 16 receptions. Like, this guy is for real, son. Like, he'll at least get double digit. If you in a PPR league and you have Le'Veon Bell, that's a goal of mine. If you're playing DraftKings, which is PPR, you definitely, a lot of people are going to pick him. He's not good for I guess ownership rate, because he's just the safe pick. He's a safe pick because they line him up as a receiver a lot. If you watch the Browns game, he lined up a lot as a receiver, a lot. It was like, good Lord, just make him your next slot receiver. You line him up so much, it's ridiculous. Nevertheless, even though people are going to pick him, I still picked him this week because I'm banking on people being scared. I picked him on DraftKings. I'm banking on people being scared of New England's defense being the top fantasy defense overall. I'm banking on people being afraid of that, but I don't know. His numbers are just so good. It is hard to pass up. I'm still going to pick him. And besides, he had 22 fantasy points against New England the last time he played them. And I know it was 2 years ago, but like that's something to think about. I'm pretty sure they lost that game too 2 years ago. He still had 22 fantasy points. He had 112 yards rushing. So why not? Why not? Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook have been spectacular. You pick one of them, I'm pretty sure you won some money. You had to. I know Emily picked them. Picked Austin Eckler. She had to. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, he was a first round, second round pick in fantasy. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Josh Jacobs, no one knew he was a high draft pick for a rookie. And I see why. Like, he's doing really good too. So, he's been consistent. I don't know what they plan this week. I don't really care. Just know he's a good option to pick too. Like, definitely. For sure. I mean, he's like top 5 and he's a rookie. Top 5 fantasy already. So let's talk about this Browns and Redskins. Not Browns and Redskins. Bears and Redskins. It's here at FedEx Field Monday night. 2 shaky teams. This is clearly the worst offense that the Redskins have played this season. They are a notch below the Eagles and the Cowboys offensively. The Bears, they don't put up points. Trubisky's been struggling. They've been shaky with running the ball. I know Allen Robinson though has been a good target. And oh my God, now I think about it, Allen Robinson versus the Redskins defense. That Redskins secondary is about as bad as the Eagles secondary. And it just looks like too many times people are out of position. They're looking at each other like, dog, what was we supposed to be doing? Josh Norman be looking silly because he either has no safety help or he's just out of position. So I know the Bears going to take advantage of that. That's the time for them to get back on track. But at the same time, I mean, if it's any time for the Redskins to get back on track, maybe it's against the Bears, who have been struggling offensively. It's just who's going to show up. I say honestly, I would give the advantage to the Bears offense. So if you're in daily fantasy, picking Allen Robinson wouldn't be bad, especially when it comes to ownership rate. Picking him wouldn't be a bad choice. I mean, if you're including the Monday night game, because most of the big tournaments won't include the Monday night game. But if you are playing in something that includes the Monday night game, you pick him. You pick him because I don't think that secondary will have any answer for Allen Robinson. He played 2 tough defenses, and he's still putting up numbers. It's pretty impressive. Cowboys, Dolphins. Like I said, the Dolphins they've got to be one of the worst teams in NFL history the past 2 games. They can't do anything right. And they're playing the Cowboys, who are destroying folks offensively. I don't see how the Dolphins can stop anybody on the Cowboys. So just pick anybody. Just pick anybody on the Cowboys. Anybody. You can pick Dak. You can pick Zeke. You can pick Randall Cobb. You can pick Gallup. You can pick Amari Cooper. You can pick Jason Witten. Pick anybody. It don't matter. The Dolphins not going to stop them. You can even pick the Cowboys defense because the Dolphins offense have been just awful. Just awful. I don't think anyone on that offense has gotten double digits. That's how bad that offense is. Just pick anybody. You get a Cowboy. You get a Cowboy. You get a Cowboy. Everybody. Everybody get a Cowboy. They just trash. Oh, and Mark Ingram has been good. But what is he going to do against a tough run defense? Well, I don't see the Chiefs stopping him either, but we'll see. I was hopping around there, but that was on my notes. Kirk Cousins? I don't know who. I don't even know who's Minnesota playing next week, but it don't matter. Kirk Cousins. I think it's the Raiders. I'm actually pretty sure it's the Raiders. So if it's the Raiders, yeah, why not Kirk Cousins? Why not? I mean, we're going to test the Raiders' defense against Kirk Cousins. Why not pick him? Sure, he had a tough go, but I guess the Packers' defense is for real. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But if the Packers' defense is as real as it has looked so far, then that means Kirk Cousins will be fine against a weaker defense next week for sure. I'm just looking at Mason Rudolph being listed as a value. Okay, that's kind of controversial to me. Like, I guess. Like, he had a strong showing against Seattle, but that was Seattle. San Francisco has the second best fantasy defense. If not second, they're in the top 5. Like, and they get turnovers. They get turnovers. They don't play around. And this guy threw an interception against Seattle, and Seattle's defense hasn't been that great this year. So I can already see Mason Rudolph throwing it right to Richard Sherman. I can see it already. A lot of those guys on Pittsburgh is being listed as values. I just don't know. Not against that team. Now, the way that defense is playing, I just don't see anybody on Pittsburgh really doing anything. But hey, if you're in those big tournaments and you need a lesser known option, why not? Just try it and see what happens. Especially with, I would say Jalen Samuels is a good option. I feel like everyone's going to pick him because they know James Conner is out and they feel that and they look at his stats against Seattle, he had a bunch of rushing yards. I feel like a lot of people gonna pick him, so I don't see how he's a value. Well, I guess he's a value because his price. His price is gonna be low. I guess you can pick him. He's not Austin Eckler. He's not Dalvin Cook. He's not Todd Gurley. He's not Le'Veon Bell. I guess that's why he's a value. But I can see a lot of people picking him. Mozart, maybe same thing. Like, he had a big game last week. He splits carries with Breda, and he catches more passes than Breda. So in PPR, he's definitely valuable. So especially on DraftKings, that is really heavy on PPR. That's points per reception. If you don't know, I mean, why not? Why not pick him? I mean, I prefer him rather than Jalen Samuels, but we'll see. I think he's going to get a lot more carries and touches, honestly. Yeah, just as many touches as Breda, if not more, honestly. Once again, the Eagles' secondary is trash. They made Terry McLaurin the number 7 fantasy receiver. Are you kidding me, bro? He didn't get as many fantasy points against the Cowboys. He had double digits, but they made him look like a superstar. So I knew if they couldn't stop Terry McLaurin and Trey Quinn and freaking Vernon Davis, I was like, how are they going to stop Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley? They did what they could. They tried. At the end of the day, Julio Jones broke out and he did his thing. So the Eagles are playing the Lions. Galladay just had a monster game. Marvin Jones has always been a solid receiver. Man, I say I'm definitely picking one or both. I already picked both of those guys in DraftKings because I'm like, our secondary can't. I don't think our secondary is going to guard them at all. They're going to get toasted. So I might as well just pick both of them. I picked both of them in DraftKings. Just screw it. I might as well. Keenan Allen is very reliable. Rivers looks to him. I seen him against Indy, and Rivers just forcing him the ball. And same thing in Detroit sometimes. Detroit game force him the ball, which is good for fantasy owners because he's going to catch some of those, and then that just helps everyone involved. They say the Chargers is a value defense because the Houston offensive line, they've always had O-line troubles. I don't know. And that Chargers front is ridiculous. They got Joey Bosa and like all those other guys I can't put my finger on right now, but they got a nice pass rush. John Brown versus Cincy. John Brown's the main receiver on Buffalo, and Cincy's pass defense has been, oh man, I don't know. It's been shaky. Why not? John Ross has been a value, but he's gonna go up because, well, honestly, Tyler Boyd is like that, but then you got him. You could pick either one of those guys at this point. They're both killing it. John Ross is really having a good season so far. But, why not? Why not? He's one of the top fantasy receivers. You might as well get him before he skyrockets and becomes about the same price as Tyler Boyd, because I know it's coming. It's coming. I know it is. So, now that I'm through my notes, my best DraftKings lineup last week. I'm trying to pull it up right now, but before I do that, one of my worst, I had Ryan Fitzpatrick. I stacked Ryan Fitzpatrick and Devontae Parker because I knew no one was going to pick them. And no one did pick them. Here's the problem. They didn't score. They were in the game that whole time and they didn't score. They didn't do anything. It was a bad pick. I didn't know the Dolphins were going to get destroyed. But I still picked him because I was like, that's the ultimate sleeper. I said I was going to shock the world. Man, please. Please. You should have threw that lineup in the garbage. My lineup, other than that, wasn't really that bad. It wasn't really that bad, honestly. And now history. So, so I guess my best team from last week, it had Dak Prescott, who killed it again. Matt Breida. I mean, him or Mozart. You could have picked him. I said Mozart, whatever. Zeke Elliott, of course. Paris Campbell, sleeping on him. I mean, why not? Devin Funchess is hurt. Amari Cooper caught a touchdown. Juju Smith-Schuster did his thing, but he was high owned, so he didn't really do much for me. Kyle Rudolph, 0.8 owned, 3.9 points. Oh, God. Keon Drake actually had 9 points. That's not bad. Not bad, but need a little more. 0.9 owned. I mean, against the Patriots, I mean, he did the best he could. Chargers defense 8. That's okay. Fantasy wise, 8 points on defense, just okay. So this week I got Jimmy Garoppolo against that shaky Pittsburgh defense. Got Le'Veon Bell because, well, why not? Against the Patriots, I'm expecting him to be a little lesser owned, but his numbers are ridiculous, so maybe not. Chris Carson, he's going to have a bounce back game. I know New Orleans' run defense has been tough the past few years. I don't care. I think Chris Carson at home, why not? Larry Fitzgerald is solid. Kenny Golladay against the Eagles secondary. Marvin Jones against the Eagles secondary, why not? Our secondary is trash. So I picked Mozart this time. He splits carries. He lines up as a receiver. Why not? George Kittle versus Pittsburgh. Why not? I don't think that defense will be able to stop anybody. Then I finally went with the Patriots defense because the Jets offense with Luke Falk, if they can tame Le'Veon Bell, and they can only do but so much like Cleveland did. They did okay, but they did enough to keep them off the board pretty much. I expect the Patriots to do the same, and they're going to get turnovers. They got the most turnovers in the league so far. Well, they at least got the most interceptions. So why not? Why not? Okay. In my ESPN, my problem is with my ESPN team. First of all, Michael Thomas, I mentioned earlier. He has Teddy Bridgewater throwing to him, and I was watching the game versus the Rams, and I'm like, man, this is a disaster. This guy can't get Michael Thomas the ball. This is going to be a long season until Drew Brees come back. Whatever. I mean, I lost by 3 last week because Cam only had 11, and he's questionable this week, and it's not looking good. Ben Roethlisberger on IR. I have Andy Dalton. Oh, I got another trade request. Yeah, no. Y'all loafing. No. Yeah, no. I'm not taking that trade request. They tried to give me a trade of Julio and Odell for Deshaun Jackson, and it just wasn't a good trade. It just wasn't. So I'm picking up Andy Dalton. Ben Roethlisberger's on IR. But if you're in the same predicament I have, where you have Brees, Roethlisberger, and you got Cam Newton who's struggling and who's hurt right now, Josh Allen is a really good option. If your quarterback's struggling, pick him. Jacoby Brissett is consistent. Case Keenum is consistent. Y'all really want to pick Teddy Bridgewater? For this week only, maybe. Maybe you pick him for this week only. Tampa Bay's going to eat up Daniel Jones. Don't pick him. Then you got, okay, Jimmy Garoppolo. I just picked on DraftKings, so obviously pick him because that Pittsburgh defense is shaky. Why not pick Stafford? He's going against the Eagles secondary. Even though it's at home in Philly, I mean, other than that, I mean, Andy Dalton, that's who I picked. He's going against Buffalo, and I picked him? Still, I don't care. I don't care about Buffalo's defense. Andy Dalton is really, I know he went against two shaky defenses, but I don't know. I think I might take Josh Allen, honestly. I just might. What about Jimmy G? I don't know. I'm starting to regret my Andy Dalton decision. But the numbers he put up, I mean, he's averaging, 19, 20 points a game. 19. That's not bad. That's pretty solid. Granted, against two shaky defenses, but why not? I think I might stick with it. I mean, I thought I picked him. All right, give me... I mean, I put in a waiver. So I put in a waiver for both Josh Allen and Andy Dalton. Let's see how that goes. I'll probably end up starting Cam. No, who am I kidding? I'd start Josh Allen versus Cincinnati. Come on. I mean, he's projected to get 19.4, and honestly, that makes sense. Wilson lit him up, and Jimmy Garoppolo lit him up, so why not? But then again, the Cardinals' defense ain't that good either. But Cam has been shaky. So, decisions. We'll see what quarterback I have at the end of the day. So, I'm going to end off with recapping on this, opening segment of, this is the first edition segment of Van versus Emily. So, me and Emily, right? We've been friends since 2012. We kind of discovered FanDuel around the same time. So we go against each other in FanDuel. We've been doing it since 2014, maybe 2015. And I beat her every year except last year. Last year she got really good and she annihilated me. Like, she won 9 out of 10 weeks. Like, to clinch, you need 9, right? You need 9, 10. You need 10 to clinch, right? You need 10 to clinch regular season and playoffs between us in FanDuel. I think week 11, she was up 10-1. I quit. She was up 9-1. I quit. I was like, what? What is this? I'd won the previous 3 or 4 years. One year was close. I guess another year wasn't. And I made her quit. But this time the tables turned and she won 9. I won 1. Like, and the one I won was close. So, I don't know. And this week, it's already getting off to a bad start. So, she had 158, right? She had Tom Brady against Miami. I should have paid more attention to that. Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, top 2 running backs in fantasy so far. Stephon Diggs, John Ross, Valdez-Scantling. I don't know. She's a Green Bay fan. Of course, she's going to pick one of them. Bad choice, but whatever. It didn't matter. Evan Ingram, Josh Jacobs. You talking about a top 5 tight end, a top 5 running back. And then the Patriots, the top defense, and they had 37 points. That was the kicker. They had 37 points. That's what got her 158. That. So She had most of her lineup is the top 5-ish people in every position, just about. She knows what she's doing. So, but me, I only had 100. See, I don't like losing to Emily because it's just bragging rights. So out of 100 people, she came in second. I came in 90th. I had Phillip Rivers, who had trouble with that Lions defense. Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley didn't do bad. Keenan Allen, John Brown, Mari Cooper, Delaney Walker, Chris Thompson. I mean, my lineup was okay. There was no standouts, and that's why I lost. And my defense was the Colts, who only had 5. The Colts defense is just okay. They're not all that. I really, when it comes to defense, I really need to do a better job at picking matchups. That's what she did, and that's what she's always been good at doing. I mean, 37-5, that's a huge difference. And then in quarterback, 24-11, that's a huge difference. I mean, just got straight up annihilated. I mean, I'm going to be back, okay? There's no way I'm going to let her blow me out for the second year in a row. But so far, I'm down 1-0. We skipped week 1. So I'm down 1-0. Whatever. I'll be back. So, until next time, I'm out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the GOAT Level Podcast. Make sure you share, subscribe, and get money.